Hi everybody. For those of you that don't know us, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Lucy.
We are Daddy Jack's daughters. It's crazy to think it's been 6 months since our dad passed away. It's been the hardest 6 months, I think, of our lives. And we have really wanted this whole time to reach out and make a video. So many of you have sent us Facebook messages and handwritten notes and reached out, and it means so much to us to see all the lives that our dad touched, and I think it's been amazing.
And I think some of the pieces that I heard from many of you were that, my dad was such an integral part of your life too. And it was one of those situations with our dad where what you see is really what you got. Like, he was larger than life, and even speaking about him in a past tense just feels so unfair because he touched so many of our lives and it doesn't feel like he's gone. And the fact that it's been 6 months is unfathomable.
Yeah,
I mean, we miss him so much every day, and it does bring us some comfort knowing that you all do too.
Yeah.
And you've been such a part of our lives for such a long time. So we've wanted to get on here, but the grieving process is enormous. But we have a couple updates that we wanted to share. We wanted to start with the restaurant.
Yeah, so many of you have reached out on our restaurant Facebook page, and I don't think either one of us has just been able to even respond yet, but we have seen your messages.
But we've seen that.
Yeah.
And we're appreciative.
Yeah. So as far as the restaurant goes, before COVID, our dad was kind of ready to retire. He was, he used to call it the brick and mortar and say, I love the flexibility of my YouTube channel, and that's what makes me happy. And the day-to-day grind is just not cutting it anymore.
Yeah.
Which left a lot on our shoulders. So, we had started talking about what that would look like, and then COVID hit. And it was, it was challenging, but it was also a blessing in disguise in a lot of ways. It gave us so much time with our dad, and, especially Lucy, she was working from home every day, and, you tell that because it's just comical. Like, dad had no concept of a schedule.
None. And working from home was a foreign concept to me too, but especially to him. Like, he didn't understand that just because I was home, I was working. And so I said this in just, one of the memories I shared about him was like, notoriously, that like if you're getting a back-to-back call, it's an emergency. So without fail, my dad would call and I'd be like, all right, Dad, I'm in a meeting, I've got to call you back. He hits me with the second call. I'm like, oh my God, it's an emergency. So I pick up, and without fail, he would be like outside in my driveway with a dozen donuts, which probably didn't help the health situation. But those were the moments through COVID especially that were just the highlight of my life.
Yeah.
And truly some of the memories that I miss the most. But through COVID, really, it was such a blessing because it gave him this opportunity to have kind of a forced retirement, which was really nice.
Yeah, and I think it let him, he always said when he retired, he wanted to take the YouTube show on the road. And, so many of his videos are visiting different people and seeing the food that they love and traveling and trying new restaurants and things like that. So I think during COVID, he had that freedom, and it was beautiful. And him and Lakeisha, who he loved so much, they spent so much time cooking at home, and he kind of took the videos from being at the restaurant to being in his kitchen at home together with her, and she did all the editing and they added the music, and it just was a really special time, I think.
True partnership.
Yeah. And it was really beautiful. So, once COVID kind of later, in the later stages of last year, our lease was up on the restaurant, our liquor license was up, so many of these things, it just kind of was a natural progression, and we hadn't really made the decision completely, but it was there. So after he passed, that kind of left Lucy and I with a daunting task of, what are we going to do with this? And, anyone that knew our restaurant knew that he was the heart and soul of that restaurant. And without him in there every day, it could never be the same. As much as Lucy and I are pretty great, we can't cook like that, and we're just not him. Yeah. So we did make the decision to close the restaurant permanently. and that was a cathartic thing for us to go through everything and to relive all the memories. And, we were at the restaurant at that location since 2014. And we just had this insane clientele that became family and friends, and the New London firefighters were in there all the time, and YouTube fans came in from everywhere to visit. And, for Lucy and I think it was really hard, but also just really beautiful for us. And, before we turned the keys over, we had lawn chairs and we went in with a coffee and we just kind of sat in the front window and looked at the space. And, really we're just super grateful for all of our memories in there and for all of the love and support that so many of you gave our families over the years. And it was really hard, but really beautiful. So yeah.
And it's emotional, like our restaurant family became our family and such a big support system. And it's just, this whole process is just enormously hard. One piece that I'm especially grateful for, right before my dad passed and kind of through COVID, we launched a merchandise line.
You pretty much did.
Thank you.
The goal was for us to do it together, and then I quickly fell off and was like, I cannot be bothered. Definitely Dad's daughter in that way. I love the concept, and then once it's time to put it to motion, and just not.
So I've done the brick and mortar.
Yeah.
And
what is our website? DaddyJacksNewLondon.com?
DaddyJacksNewLondon.com.
Yeah.
So we started off really simple, just with the Daddy Jack's blackening seasoning. This was my dad's baby. We partner with a company in Manchester, Connecticut called the Spice Mill, who's amazing. Yeah. So my dad was like, I want to do a blackening spice. I'm like, okay, Dad, sure. So we open our online shop. We, roll out our t-shirts, which have been enormously popular, and it really just took off. And part of the way through, we were like, all right, let's do aprons, let's do beanies. And so when my dad passed, sales took off. Yeah. And I have to be honest, your notes and your messages and just the kindness that you shared with us through your orders were just really humbling. And there were days where I just didn't want to get out of bed, but I was like, I know I have 25 orders to get done. And I just hope you know that it really just helps the grieving process. And so we are still doing our merchandise. I just placed a new order for blackening spices, and we have white aprons, we have black aprons, we have men's t-shirts, and then we also have, I wasn't sure if anyone would like these, but my dad loved Carhartt, so it's a Carhartt beanie embroidered. We have a few left there. Yeah. But after my dad passed, I worked with Critical Screen Printing, which is our company in Montville. And so on all of the aprons now, you'll have my dad's signature, which is really special. It was very emotional, especially after he died, seeing his name so many times. But his name will be on the aprons and the men's t-shirts. Yeah. So please be patient with us. Yeah.
We're working so hard. Okay, that's Lucy. It's Lucy working so hard. But I think, we've kind of gone over this back and forth too. And, there are so many pieces that we want to keep alive to honor our dad, and that's one of them. So we've talked about kind of at some point opening shipping. He has so many international fans that have reached out and been like, can you please open to Australia and England and Italy? So many different.
And just drop us a line, because we do ship to Canada, the UK, Germany. But if you are somewhere that we don't ship to, just drop us a line, and I can easily set up that shipping. Yeah. So that's kind of what we're doing with merch. It's still going.
Still gonna keep it going.
And I have to say, obviously I'm biased, but I use this blackening seasoning on everything: fish, chicken, steak, whatever, and it's really delicious. So I highly recommend. My dad dialed that one in.
Yeah, it's amazing. So kind of in keeping with that, and talking about what we're doing to move forward, we decided as a family, with Lakeisha and our mom and Lucy and I, that we are going to start a Daddy Jack Chaplin Foundation. And we did start it right after he passed. We had a really beautiful celebration of life for him in July, and we had a full-blown merchandise table, and took all the proceeds from that and put that into the foundation. I want to say it was like $5,000, something like that. And then we've had so many of you that have sent, personal checks and made donations online, which is just so wonderful.
So kind.
So our goal is to continue with this. We will post this video on YouTube and on Facebook, so we can put the link in there for anybody. It's a PayPal. You can also send checks if you want. But our goal is really just to support things that were important to him. So the Waterford Public Library was one of his
avid reader
favorites there. There were so many times that Lucy and I are such readers too, and there were so many times that like I would pull in and his car would be there. And sometimes he was in there reading, and sometimes he was napping in the sun outside, which was
it's a crapshoot.
Yeah,
really,
yeah. So our plan is to make a donation there every year in his name, to do a scholarship at the New London High School. They have a culinary program. And then Lucy and I have been talking, recently. He just had such an affinity for making sure that no one was ever hungry. And, anyone in New London that knew him, the homeless, anybody that was down on their luck, he always said, like, come find me. I can't guarantee that I can give you money, but I will always make sure that you leave full and you're never hungry. So we've been talking about, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, and we just are so grateful and have so much to be thankful for, but recognize that not everyone does. So I think we're gonna hopefully make a donation to a food bank or food shop, something.
But just know that your donations will
Yeah.
go to supporting things that he loved so much, which
Yeah.
were community, up and coming chefs, avid readers. Just he was wonderful in every way.
Yeah.
And in the same breath with the YouTube.
Yeah, that's been, I think, the huge, like, what's going on with the YouTube channel?
And
Yeah.
Lakeisha just posted a wonderful video just
Yeah.
with some footage that she had. And I know that there is so much other footage that we have that maybe wasn't aired, wasn't made into a video. So we're discussing right now what to do there. Kind of like Rachel said, I don't know if we have the same draw. The personality. We've thought about like making his recipes and doing like a side-by-side video.
Maybe we could, that would be nice if like people wrote in the comments on YouTube and Facebook, like things you want to see.
Yeah.
We can't, I think we'll continue rolling out classics and all, the raw footage that we have, and Keisha is so great about editing it and adding in music that he loved. And, the three of us, I think, kind of gave ourselves, let's give ourselves 6 months or a year and then kind of decide what we're going to do from there. But yeah, he had some things that he wanted done with the YouTube channel. And actually he had done one of these videos with Rocco's mom.
He did.
And I don't know if you remember this story. It is such a Jack Chaplin story. So I think it was like a lemon chicken that he did with Rocco's mom. And it was beautiful, like such a great recipe. And our dad always said, like, he loved a chicken, rotisserie, like the favorite. And he always said the mark of like a great chicken dinner is all that's left is the bones. Great, totally true. So he did this video, and in the caption, he said like, beautiful video with Rocco's mom, nothing but a bag of bones. And we were like, I don't think that hit. I don't think that's the right caption, Dad. But with that being said, his favorite thing was to really like do videos with people and find out what their favorite thing was to cook, and talk about the memories they made over it. And his mom was such a great cook, our grandmother, and just that like family tie and the comfort food. So one thing that he always said was, if anything ever happened to him, he wanted the YouTube channel to be kept alive by bringing people in and having, Lucy and I and Keisha and our whoever that, wants to, but they're just making that food and sharing those memories.
And I think that's a way too, and we feel so fortunate. Not everyone can say that they have millions of minutes of their parent to watch, and have this legacy time-stamped in time. And so I think that really was his intention too, to recreate these recipes specifically with elderly people, so that inevitably and sadly when they pass, the family has this beautiful memory that they can look back on. And I know we personally feel so fortunate to have the memories. But that's that was his hope, and so again, more to come. But we just wanted to share an update with you all and wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. I know we're both very thankful for all of you, and just for your kindness and compassion during this time. So we miss him.
I think just I especially, Lucy and I have talked about this, but just for loving our dad so much. everyone out there just loved him and appreciated him for who he was. And we would always say like, oh my God, Dad, you're YouTube fans. And he'd be like, they're not fans, they're my YouTube family, and so many times he would be at the restaurant or he would come to see us and he's on the phone with somebody from who even knows where, all around the country. And just the way that you guys loved and appreciated our dad so much just gives us so much comfort. And I think we just wanted to really thank you guys and let you know that you're a part of our family too. And we're obviously not our dad.
Even though Rachel's spitting.
It is.
I mean,
and everyone always said that.
honest.
It's Jack without a beard. I won't say the other thing that they used to say because it's just not. But yeah, so I think, Lucy and I would love to continue these relationships with all of you and have you be a part of our lives moving forward. And yeah, so that's our goal. So I think we just want to say thank you to everyone, and we love you all so much. And that's it, I think.
To quote my dad, peace.
That's right.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye, guys.